This is a horror game podcast. It is meant for mature audiences. It may contain adult language, violence, and sexual themes, as well as shocking revelations. Viewer discretion is advised. Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I will be playing the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Thom Raley. We continue with our campaign, World War Cthulhu London. It was written by Matthew Sanderson and Scott Dorward. This scenario is entitled The Meat Trade. Our Keeper of Arcane Lore is Matthew Sanderson, and this is episode 3. Our recap will be given by Josh Harwood as his character, Dr. George Gross. So, without any further delay, let's continue our journey into the darkness. Josh?
Thank you, voice in my head, or is it several voices in my head? I do not know what is real and what is not anymore. But I do know what I am seeing, and I have seen into the darkest depths of the minds. Into the darkness, I guess, is what I've seen. We have come across creatures that I have read about and studied, what we would refer to as ghouls. And while we were at an autopsy, sort of, I was trying to piece together information, and that information did not come to me until later, when I had a sort of epiphany, and I realized we were dealing with a war. Well, we were dealing with a war, but a different kind of war, an underground war, a battle of attrition between two, maybe three, maybe four, maybe five, maybe 100 different tribes of ghouls or clans of ghouls, whatever you want to say. I am unsure, but it could get nasty, violent. Yes, but my day was interesting. We followed our line of inquiry to a butcher's to inquire about the meat that is being traded. I used some of nice liquid and put it on my eyes to just test it to see how it worked, and it was fuzzy, like it was and wasn't a ghoul. It was an unknown entity, as if someone was transforming. And then I tried to talk to the daughter of this man, a little girl, Jenny. I tried and tried and tried and tried, just seeing how far the transformation had happened. And then, bang, that's all I remember. It was dead. I couldn't remember anything that happened before that, after that, whatever. It was just a little girl was gone, and I didn't know what to do anymore. And the rest, it's just a blank. The father was killed as well, I think. It's all a blur. But we need to move on with our investigations. We need to stop this. We need to get to the bottom of this. And we will. I've survived enough. I might be losing my marbles. I might be losing my sanity. I might be going into the deepest depths of hell and back. But we will finish our escapade, and we will stop this war. Because we can't stop the current real war that's going on, but we can stop this war of ghouls.
Right, thank you very much, baby killer Dr. Gross. Right. I think we left it with the group split between two rooms in the apartment of Grace Daggett. So you've got Dr. Gross is in the living room that had been turned into her study, and then the others, I believe, are in the bedroom looking at a relatively well stocked but in dire need of maintenance weapons cabinet, otherwise known as a wardrobe, or at least looks like one from the outside anyway. So we had Dr. Gross stood looking through this weird photo album marked The Rat Catchers, showing this merry band of investigators through the last 15, 20 odd years or so, slowly dwindling down, posing initially like big game hunters will the ghouls that they'd picked up in subterranean tunnels and morcilia and the like, until they are a very weary, very minute force in comparison to the strength they used to be. While you're flicking through this journal, there are a couple of other things that you'll notice in the room that didn't quite leave it to a satisfactory cliffhanger last time. But now that if we are bringing the camera back in, we can have details around you on the desk and the rest of the room start to come into a bit more focus. So on the desk, you see there is that copy of Cult de Ghoul, which is propped up against the ghoul's skull, which is being used as a paperweight. Behind that, you can see there is another notebook. Looks like a notebook anyway. It's got a leather cover. It's got a strap that goes around it that has a series of bookmarks that are sticking out of it at weird angles. That looks like it's another work in progress. This is definitely something that looks like it's been added to over time. And a quick flick through this reveals it's lots of handwritten notes. This will take a little while to try and decipher, but it looks interesting to someone of your caliber that deals with the occult and with academia.
Yes.
And as you're bringing your eyes up over this, you notice that the walls mostly are just bookshelves, that they are floor to ceiling. There's the annoying spaces of wall that have these inconvenient things called windows that all they tend to do is just let in sunlight to fade books, and they're terrible additions to rooms. But between some of these bookcases, you do notice this rare patch of wall where you can see there's a large folded up section of the London Underground tube map, but it's been annotated. And you can see that there's been sections where it's been marked that this is a disused tunnel, and then X is marking what presumably then are dots going off it, that on a normal map of above ground would indicate maybe that it's a train line. But in this context, you quickly piece together that no, this must mean that these are entranceway to ghoul tunnels that lead into the tube network. And below the tube map, there's something that looks rectangular, but there's a cover that's been thrown over it. Looks almost like a painting, perhaps, or some kind of picture frame, but it's got a cover that's been thrown over it.
Let's have a look, see at this, Father. Maybe she's got a cannon.
A cannon. Well, let's have a look.
Well, you're going through the weapons cabinet.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking about the thing that's covered up might be the case that held some other weapons in it.
Oh, you're going in to have a look at the frame that's up against
you're
the
coming
wall
to me. I was going to also go straight to the frame and take it out. We'd probably cross paths, butt heads.
Right, you go over to it, and yeah, you give it a quick flick back, and it is indeed a picture. It looks like a painting, although you only know it's a painting by being up close to it. This is incredibly realistic. This is a piece of exceptional work that's gone into producing this piece. But that's where your appreciation of the piece pretty much finishes, is the technical quality of how it's been put together. Because the picture, the subject matter in particular, just makes your stomach crawl. There's something in this that just instinctually you recoil back from in disgust, as it looks like one of these ghoulish things leaning over a crib and trying to steal a baby out from the crib under one arm, while in the other hand it's got some monstrous thing that could maybe be if there is, again, we had this discussion last time. I think about it. It's a ghoulish changeling that it's trying to swap in place of it. I won't ask for a sand check, mainly because poor Dr. Gross is already fairly low as it is, and you've already seen ghouls, so a picture of one is not as sanity blasting as one of the real ones. But looking across the picture for any other thing to take your eyes away from this horrible spectre, you do notice there are 3 initials at the bottom right-hand corner. R-U-P.
I imagine we won't be able to find this artist unless we do a comprehensive search of the sanatoria. No one could paint such a realistic portrait of something so hideous without being quite out of his mind.
It's so gross and grotesque. Do I recognize the initials?
You can give me I'd say an extreme int roll, because it's whether you circulate with the creme de la creme of the Boston Art Club will determine whether you recognize these initials.
I need to get 15 or under for let's have a gander. I will spend the 2 luck. I know I've got no luck, but I will spend the 2 luck.
But if it means you can identify a picture by the one and only Richard Upton Pickman, then yeah, that's worth 2 luck.
Yeah.
You've heard of this?
From life, one might say.
Yes, you all seem to learn more about me as we go along. I run in unusual circles. That's why I'm probably a very unusual person, maybe.
Maybe.
I don't think I'm unusual.
Is this Pickman still alive? He must be an expert on the subject.
Let's listen to the voice in my head to tell me what is going on right now.
The last you remember hearing, talk about the mince pie dreams of the Boston Art Club, was that Pickman disappeared a few years ago. His present whereabouts are unknown.
Fair enough.
Like many of the great people of that realm, things happen, they disappear.
Well, let's cover it back up by all means. I don't want those yellow eyes staring at me over my shoulder.
Yes.
Now let's find some Stephanie Green on this underground map. I wonder if she had it in her sights.
You do indeed find a cross near the Stepney Green tube station, yes.
This is incredible intelligence that we can use.
This is someone who's done a lot of research, and it's fascinating.
So I suppose we're the new rat catchers. I hope we end up in better shape than they did.
Well, there's a whole arsenal of weaponry in here if we need it.
Jean-Claude, I assume you know about the care and maintenance of bear traps?
Oh, of course.
These things look to be in ill repute.
I've never used them on bears before.
Well, it's not what we're using them for now either.
Do the various weapons and things look like she obsessively kept cleaning them even though she wasn't using them? Or they're pretty bad?
The latter, yeah. So they'll
take quite a bit of maintenance.
But those 2 bear traps in particular, they are rusty. They need some dire attention before you want to try using them.
Do they look used?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why. That's one of the reasons why they're rusty, is because it's the blood that's been left on them too long,
Nice.
has not been too well to the metal.
Well, we should use these as well.
Well, I can help collect them, but I'm actually bound by my vows not to kill. So
What if they're not human?
I'm still not supposed to be doing anything of violence like that.
A life is a life, and at the end of the day,
I'm not.
some of them were once human, and some of them they're still
Well,
sentient beings.
I was going to say I'm not going to criticize you for killing them, but
Well, no, I understand. I mean, for giving you more of a reason of not, they are sentient beings after all. I would like to talk to
I
them. I
can
would like
carry
to
them.
talk more to them. Because not all of them are bad. This is just a turf war gone wrong by the seemingly.
I'm
They
fairly
are.
sure there was
We
one
can
other
talk to
thing.
them. No,
There was
the
one.
voice.
There's lag somewhere here. God. There was one thing as well that I think I mentioned at the end of the last session. Did I mention the notebook or the address book that had lots of names crossed out?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did
So
mention that.
if you have a quick flick through that, there are 2 names and 2 addresses which have not been crossed out. Those being the addresses for, he says quickly, and back to the relevant page. Kenneth Hodge and Nancy Wayne. Kenneth Hodge has an address in Lambeth, and Wayne doesn't immediately tell me where her address is, but I can hopefully find that.
You have those names written down from before.
I also had those names and couldn't remember who they were. Now I know.
There you go. Yeah, we'll have her in Greenwich because that's a nice given. Yeah, that fits with her description.
We've got a couple of names that haven't been crossed out. Do you suppose these are ghouls
They're
posing
either
as humans?
ghouls or rat catchers that are left.
Oh, yeah.
Do
If
any
they're
of
crossed.
Does this correspond with the photo album? These 2 names?
If you go through the combination
Yeah.
of looking at the back of the photos, because the photos are marked to show
Mhm.
certain names on them and dates, you start initially hitting more names that are crossed out.
Yep.
But eventually you do find that there are individuals which you can identify as Kenneth and Nancy. They do feature in the photos, and they're the only names that aren't crossed out.
So they're still alive. Yeah. Gotcha.
And these are some of the older photos where the rat catchers look jollier.
Yeah, they do go through into some of the more recent ones. But Nancy doesn't appear in anything for about the last 5 years. Kenneth does, but as he does, you can see he's getting a bit more elderly than the rest. He's easily going to be in his mid-60s by this point. Nancy, you think, would probably be late 30s by now, but for some reason she just isn't in the photos, but still her name isn't crossed out.
She
No
might-
relation to the Nancy we know with
No.
Project N. Okay, yeah.
She
All
might
right.
have been gravely injured, but still lives.
Or quit and is in
Or-
retirement. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, another name to ask for in the sanatoria.
I definitely think we should reach out to this Kenneth Hodge.
There may be more to this than they've written down that Mr. Hodge can tell us.
Yeah. I'm quite interested in the book that has been annotated with notes because I get a hunch that it's a book on all about how to kill ghouls. So that'd be useful for me to read.
Right. Do you want to give me an English roll to do a quick skim?
Sure thing. I have 90 education if this would help. So basically I have 90 English. 23. So that is 5 from an extreme, but it's a hard.
Great stuff. Yeah, this is going to take you, think, probably a couple of hours to look through to get a kind of a lay of the land. But your initial reading of this, or your initial assumption of this, is correct.
Hell yeah.
This is definitely a a litany of how the rat catchers have gone about attacking the ghoul population. A little bit about the history of them as well. There's this bizarre which reference to anthrax, which that you end up going, right, I'll put a pin in that and come back to it right near the beginning of it. But then, yeah, it goes through seemingly from Grace's perspective of being a member of this organization, along with her husband as well, until it looks like his untimely passing. But while the handwriting, it starts off fairly neat, it starts to deteriorate quite quickly, or at least quite steadily. There are certain passages which are illegible, either by water damage or being completely bloodstained. This is going to be a bit of a literary jigsaw to piece together, hence why it's going to take some time. But yeah, you've definitely got some useful material in here. You're certain of it.
Good. This is like the Art of War, but for ghouls. What shall we call this manuscript?
Daggett's Notes.
No, not the Rat Catcher Manual. All right.
I know. Dorward was very unimaginative when he came up with the name for this thing.
Okay, I'll take it.
Right. Any more?
I'm just wondering, tactically speaking, do we want to undermine the London ghouls and let the suburban ghouls take over the show? Is that going to be worse in some way?
I say we kill the ones that are trying to sabotage the bunkers.
Yeah.
An active threat against our community.
Does it seem to you that these rat catchers have been the ones keeping the ghouls in line for so long, and
I would
now
have to
they're
read.
almost all dead? So
I don't think it really mattered to them which tribe each ghoul belonged to. They just killed them indiscriminately.
I'm sure.
The only way
Maybe
to
we can be a
determine
little more nuanced here.
is talk. We talk to them. Or try to.
Sounds like you're
Find out who the
volunteering,
leaders
Dr.
are.
Gross.
To the leaders, yes. Because at the end of the day, they're leaders. They're more than likely going to.
I tend to side with Dr. Gross. Negotiation might be a better tactic. After all, they naturally eat the dead. They don't normally kill. It's just that we're in wartime now, and
Well, they're in wartime.
They're making more
Yeah.
of themselves using human beings.
But the question for me is whether we want to take any of these weapons or all of them now, or whether we want to just head off to Wilson's meat supply and see if we can figure out where this bacon is coming from. Does the meat, the slightly moldy meat in Graves's shop, did it look like it came from a pig or a cow? Or did it look like it came from something shaped more like myself?
No, this is definitely looking like it was a regular, normal source of bacon. Just the quality of the meat was the problem, but the actual source of it remains normal.
So that wasn't the stuff that's causing the infection among its consumers. Even though I asked for the special stuff, what I got was just what he didn't have a license to sell. I mean, if it's ghoul flesh that's being consumed that's causing the transformation.
Ghoul bodily fluids, which is where we left the first episode, which is where the good father had his penny drop moment of the contaminating the meat.
yeah, it might be that they're maybe even unintentionally contaminating the meat by handling it.
Well, if they marinate the meat in ghoul blood, then it's infected.
They don't wash their hands, it might be infected. So.
Well, if they're trying to recruit us, though, because they're at war with the neighbors, it's not an accident.
I'm going to take what I can down to the car and put it in the trunk, as far as the weapons and things go. And then we need to see the woman in the hospital, Nancy.
She's not going to be awake for 24 hours, I think they told us.
Yeah, it'll be tomorrow when they wake her up.
It's probably worth recruiting her to End's cause, or maybe finding out what she knows.
We also especially want to tell her that we've removed the weapons from her flat.
Well, she's handcuffed to her bed, so she's not going to.
I'm just saying that if she has to get a weapon because she's running from the ghouls, she's not going to find any here anymore.
The extent of her injury, I don't think she's going to be home before we talk
Perhaps
to her.
not.
She's going to be in that hospital bed for a while.
The infection was odiferous, so pretty far gone.
Mhm.
Is there a gun I could take? Because I lost mine.
You've got a selection. So,
Yeah.
What kind of arsenal is here? I know there's the shotgun.
yeah, there are. Let's have a quick look at the inventory here. Number of knives, koshes, axes, several double-barrel 12-gauge shotguns, ammunition for both shotgun and also a revolver as well, the service revolver, which you parted with as your murder weapon or rather, murder-suicide weapon in the butcher's shop.
All right, I'll also take a shotgun and illegally.
You can help me
modify
carry it down to the car. Yeah.
Have the barrels been cut so they're sawn off, or?
Given their modus operandi, almost certainly.
All right, then I'd like to take one for myself. Keep it in the trench coat I have.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
I
no
love a
problem
good
there.
surprise.
I think they refer to it as a whippet because you whip it out.
Uh-huh. Then break my wrist for firing both shots.
So
Any
Claude
more
and
from
I
you?
are going up and down the stairs, taking everything down there.
Yeah, you'll be doing it for a couple of trips because you have to take it out fairly discreetly. So you're having to find stuff to wrap it up in, and then discreetly get it into the boot of the car, and then going back up, and then doing the whole thing all over again.
Sneaking about with bear traps is tricky.
Perhaps newspaper wrapped around it so that it looks like we're throwing garbage out.
Can we say we have like a duffel bag in the car?
Yeah,
That
well,
would be reasonable to have.
make do with some of the old
Yeah.
like suitcases and other baggage that's in the.
I would imagine Daggett would have containers as well because she needs to move this stuff as a hunter.
It's surprisingly not that much. So it doesn't look you can probably quickly ascertain that it's more that multiple people would be carrying this stuff out in one go, rather than her taking a whole arsenal with her.
Right.
The rat catchers met here. This is the clubhouse.
They could have different stashes around the city for all we know.
Indeed.
Until we can speak with her, we won't know.
We
should tell her quite frankly when the time comes that we know that they're the rat catchers and that we're on their side.
Yes. That's why I'd also like to reach out to Kenneth. More Kenneth than Nancy, because Nancy's kind of out of the game, as they say.
You'll probably want to know how she's doing, so.
Yes. But
quite.
What's closer, Kenneth Hodges' address or the meat packing
Nancy Wayne.
place?
Oh.
My knowledge of London geography kind of
we only have
me
until night before the bombs start dropping again.
Yeah, you've got about another 6 hours, so that's not a massive issue at this time.
Maybe we should split up?
You'd definitely cover more ground that way. Right.
Well, we're more likely to engage with ghoul combat if we are closer to night and at the meatpacking place.
Are we necessarily ready to engage in combat and give our hand away?
Well, again, we need to stop the tainted meat from being distributed as soon as possible, because every new ghoul meat snack is another ghoul we have to contend with in the future.
Fair enough, but the less information we have, the more likelihood that someone gets killed. Kenneth Hodge, not Height. He might be a database of even more ghoul killing information.
Or he might be as mad as Gross.
Why don't you let me go and speak with Kenneth, and the rest of you can check out the meatpacking in case there's danger. I'm not very good in the case of danger, but I don't anticipate any danger from Kenneth.
You shouldn't go alone.
Yes, I think a party of 2 is a minimum.
All right. Well, who's okay? I'll stick with Spofford Harris for the meat packing plant.
Well, how about Dr. Gross come with me?
Works for me.
Uh, yes,
We
but
have
I'm
our
worried
heavy
about.
hitters and the lawyer.
The problem is, I'm worried about the packing plant and you coming across, oh, maybe a head honcho, and even you not necessarily having that
I'm
knowledge
sure
and
I'll
not
be
being.
fine by myself.
And
I mean, we don't know
Success.
whether something has happened to Kenneth that makes him a danger despite his past as a rat catcher. You know, it's very dangerous psychologically, this business.
Well, I'm hoping that a priest mucking about is going to look like I can blend in.
You know, Father,
I,
not everyone's a fan of the Jesuits.
I will go with the father, considering neither the three of you are gonna volunteer, but do not, if you find someone in charge and you realize they are in charge, do not just go guns blazing. That is my worry. Sending Jean-Claude and Captain Oswald with you, Melvin, is we're going to end up causing more problems than not.
Please, Dr. Gross, don't treat us like children. I'm an esteemed army captain.
Right, this is not that kind of war. This is completely different warfare, and I am worried.
I am an
Worry
esteemed
about
felon,
yourself.
Dr. Gross.
I don't want you making it worse.
Well, let's treat this trip to the meat distributors as a fact-finding mission, first and foremost. I
Yes,
imagine that the ghouls do most of their business there at night, at any rate, and we'll be well into a shelter by nightfall.
so try not to get into any unnecessary conflict.
If the ghouls are able to come up from underground into the building, they don't have to worry about daylight at all.
No,
That's true. Meat distribution houses aren't particularly places with big, airy windows, are they? Sort of business is done in the dark and the best of circumstances.
Must smell wonderful to them.
Probably
yes.
distasteful, wholesome meat.
Well, let's go then, Dr. Gross. Well,
Yes,
where shall
Melvin,
we meet
please
back
keep
up
them in
together?
check.
Uh,
To
let's.
give you an idea on to give you
Yes.
an idea on geography, having successfully summoned or made my summon by, or at least call a deity, great god Google. Greenwich is to the southeast of where you are, and that call that one increment of like space. Greenwich is two of the same increment in the southwest. The closer is also then, if you're looking at the meat supplies warehouse, that is on the because both Greenwich and Lambeth are on the south side of the river. The Wilson meat supplies warehouse is on the north side of the river, down Mile End Road in Whitechapel. So the the meat supplies warehouse is the closest of those three, followed by Greenwich and then Lambeth in that order.
The Lambeth is the farthest.
Mhm.
But we don't know where Nancy Wayne is. So,
Well, she's in Greenwich.
You have the
yes,
address,
but we
right? The
don't.
full address.
Oh, we don't know if she's home. Yeah.
Yeah. Kenneth is more likely to be home than Nancy, considering the
Yeah.
photos.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that that's going to affect what we decided to do. I think we're going to go see Kenneth. You guys are going to go check the meat plant.
On the way
meat
back, you
packing
can
place.
see Nancy once you have
Yeah.
more information from Kenneth.
He might tell you whether she's even available to be seen.
Right, so you
Right.
don't
Shall
waste
we
time.
meet up, around dinner hour at Ann's? Because we'll need to tell him what we found anyway.
I think that's a good idea.
Above the
Well,
bookshop.
we'll want to get together not too long after high tea because it's going to start getting dark and the bombs are going to start dropping.
that will put you even further west to go to the bookshop where N's office is.
Is there a place central to where we're going to be that where we can all meet that we know has a shelter in case we have to get into it that's not one of these man-made,
Shelters are all over the place, so you've got a lot of options. Plus, there's also the deep level tube lines as well. So you've got plenty of available options, which are not one of the potentially dodgily built shelters.
Where's the
I mean,
fishmongering
the city of
area?
London is actually the proper city of London itself, the real financial heart of the capital. That's probably the most central area when you're looking at Greenwich, Lambeth, Whitechapel, and Mile End. That's even then it's kind of slightly off to one side, but it's about as close as you're going to get to a central point of all those three.
Okay. So we'll all meet at that place at around 5 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Sounds good to me. Before we go, I do want to take that map that is annotated with all the tactical ghoul markings and either record it for myself or just roll it up and take it.
Yeah, you can roll it up. That's not a problem.
We're going to take the journal and the cultist as ghouls.
Yeah, I'll hold on to the journal because I think that's useful.
I'll carry the evil book.
Yeah, you might not let Gross have too much of a read.
He may have already read this book.
Probably has his own annotated copy.
Yeah, he needs to be careful.
Highlight it.
The eyes say it all. Right, so between the two of you, if I followed the line of discussion there, you've got the one group that's going off to the Wilson Meat Supply warehouse, and the other group are then going to Lambeth to go look for Kenneth, correct?
Kenneth, correct. That's George and me.
Right. We'll do Kenneth first because that's we'll quickly resolve that. So you arrive in Lambeth. This involves that wonderful trek across the Thames. So the thing that most taxi drivers say that they'll never do after a certain time because it's south of the river, therefore it's a no-go zone. But you're able to get across London, get across the bridge, and head down into the residential part of Lambeth. And tucked away a little bit off the beaten path, there is a small, basically not a block of flats. That's a bit too grandiose for it, but it's a terrace property that has got multiple apartments. There's about 3 of them stacked up. So there's a central main door, and then it goes up per level. And say Kenneth is on the 2nd floor, so he's got a nice middle apartment with a good view looking out over the road below. You can see from the outside that the heavy-duty blackout curtains are all shut. One's on the top and bottom, the ground floor and the one above it, they're at least open at this time. Kenneth's curtains are shut. You can head up there without anyone stopping you.
We'll walk up. I'll knock on the door.
Mm-hmm.
We'll try to handle this, George, as honest and simply as possible.
Yes, that's all we can do.
Get an odd inkling. Give me a finger along the side of your nose.
Yes, I will. I still have probably some of this still rubbed on me. I don't know how long it lasts for, but
it's been a little while now. But your eyes are still stinging from it, at least. You bang on the door. How long do you wait?
I'm listening very intently to hear if I hear footsteps on the floor.
Give me a listen roll.
Is that's hard.
Okay. You are pretty certain that there is no sound on the other side of that door whatsoever. There's not the sound of someone leaning up against the door, breathing on the other side. There's not the sound of someone creeping away, trying to get out a back door or out a back window. But you do notice there is at least the sound of someone opening a door upstairs and then starting to come downstairs. But that's definitely not
Okay.
in the apartment that you're currently engaged with.
I'll stand there for a few more minutes. And does somebody indeed come downstairs?
Yep, you see a guy, was he pulling on his overcoat, straightening his hat, looks at you two by Kenneth's door and raises an eyebrow. He does say, if you're looking for Mr. Hodge, you're not the only
Yes.
ones.
Has he not been here for a while?
Not for a good few months now, no.
Oh my. Do you have any idea where he went? I'm Father Erasmus Rent, and this is Dr. Gross.
Oh, he waves hand. Yeah, Simon Winchester. Yeah, I live on the apartment upstairs. Yeah, I'm sure the landlord would also love to know where he is, because his rent is going to be coming up fairly due. I mean, he usually pays like 6 months in advance, and those 6 months are starting to come quickly to an end.
Is the landlord here in the building?
Not in the building, no, he doesn't live on site.
Well, thank you. Yes. Thank you very much. I don't suppose telling you to tell him if that we were by, but very good.
I'd love to see
I
him
don't
if
want
he
to
was
keep
around.
thank you. And I'll turn to Dr. Gross and pretend to say important things to him, like peas and carrots and peas and carrots, and as the man leaves.
Turnips too. Mm-hmm.
Carrots.
Well, Mr. Gross, how are your lockpicking skills?
In the eyes of the voice in my head, it is a one.
I think Melvin was our designated lockpicker from last time, as being the only person that had
Let's
invested
see.
any points in it whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, I suppose it's worth a roll.
You
You never
can
know. You
try.
might get a low number, and then you can
Yeah.
spend luck to.
Yeah, you could chance fumbling.
Shall we
Yeah.
both have a go?
I got 38. I'd have to spend
Uh,
38 points.
A 68 will not cut.
At this point, it is looking like either pushing the roll to potentially bring attention upon yourself, or breaking down the door,
Yeah.
which could also attract attention.
Yeah. I'm wondering if.
Hang on. Is there a is there because it's almost like apartment? How's their mail situation?
I think probably it would be
Would it
through
go
the door.
direct? Okay, yeah,
Downstairs
because
in the
it's not.
lobby.
No, through their door.
There is a flap.
So a slot.
Could I? I'm just I gotta open it and have a peek.
Yeah, you have a quick peek. From your angle, you can probably see that there's a number of letters that you can see on the doormat. So again, corresponds to the fact that he has not been here for some time. But the little bit of the glimpse of the corridor that you can see that leads off the front door, you can see there's a couple of doors that go off into adjoining rooms, and then another one at the far end. All the doors are open, and it looks like whoever last went through here was doing so in a hurry, because this place is a bit of a mess and no one has tidied up after themselves. It looks like this place was vacated very, very quickly.
Okay, right. Father, I feel like we should go check the other address. This looks like a friend here left in a hurry. If we go check the other address, see what is
I
going on
hate to have
there.
wasted this time, and
I don't think it's a
here.
waste of time. I think something is happening, or someone has caught on to friend. I don't want to say friends. We don't know them, but
I suppose we should at least try the door. Maybe it's not locked. Well,
It's locked. Yeah.
I think the landlord would have tried multiple times.
remind me next time to carry a screwdriver or something we could wedge in the door and pop the
Wait,
lock.
you said a screwdriver? No.
Yeah. To do a little magic and make one appear. Rats. Well, I guess we have no choice. Let's uh, let's go check out the other address, and perhaps
Yes.
while we're out, we can get ourselves like a cat's claw or a crowbar or something to we could use to do this. If we
Yes.
did
So
it with a crowbar, we could do it slow enough and steady enough to where it wouldn't make a lot of noise.
It sounds like a
you,
plan.
you're easily going to be able to find a hardware store to be able to get that kind of equipment. So yeah,
Yeah.
you can have that by the time you get to Greenwich.
Okay. Let's do that.
Meanwhile, back across the river in the civilized part of town, also known as Whitechapel. All right, the three of you pull up outside this fairly respectable looking business establishment, Wilson's Meat Supplies. It looks like a normal business. You can see there's an office, or at least definitely a front part that is kind of the operational part of the business, and then a warehouse structure going out behind it. There is a large gate off to one side, which, as you're pulling up, you can see a van coming out of that is liveried up with Wilson Meat Supplies on the side of it. That it seems to be that's how they're doing their deliveries. So there's almost certainly like a loading yard that leads to. But of course, as the van pulls out, the gate closes behind it, and it's not like a barred gate; it's a solid wooden structure, so you can't see what's on the other side. But yeah, it looks like a normal business. There's definitely this sound of activity. There's people coming and going out of the front, the office part of the building. And yeah, everything seems perfectly normal.
What's our angle here, Melvin?
Uh, well, obviously we have our identification cards that give us generic sort of authority. I think we're going to say that we know that um, the tainted meat has been distributed. We're doing, a check at every distribution center in this part of town. We just have a brief inspection of facilities and make sure that things look above board.
How about this? We say that the man who killed his daughter did it because he got mad cow disease from the meat.
Mad cow disease. What's that? Is that some French thing?
Mad pig disease.
Pig disease.
And pig disease, huh?
Um, well, even that's, I don't think we need to specify the illness, just tainted meat.
Brain parasites.
Oh.
It's the bacon I'm concerned about, but
I believe your plan has a high probability of working, Melvin, if the owner isn't in on it.
well, they're probably fairly safe in assuming that a visual inspection of the premises will show us nothing. They're not going to have canisters that say ghoul blood on the shelves. And the meat that Graves had was a bit rancid, but it was not obviously tainted otherwise.
Right,
Basically, it's a pity that she didn't have a few more jars of eye juice potion in her weapons cabinet, because it would be helpful if we could spot a ghoul on sight. But yeah, we'll,
I
get
should
a
have
sense of,
asked Gross for a sample.
for informational purposes, we'll get the lay of the land. And if they act weird or aggressive, that'll be. Before we go in, we should have a look at that tube map and see if there's a known ghoul hideout in the vicinity of this place.
Uh, Keeper, may I roll? Can I call for a luck check to see if I did get some of that eyeball juice from Gross before we split up?
This would be incredibly useful if you had it. So hell yes, you can give me a lot.
It's
I'm
a
a kind
49.
keeper.
I got a 49. So let's see what's going on. 86. Not
It was a
today.
great idea, but you
And
didn't do it.
and the question is, would Gross have actually trusted you with it? Probably not.
We're on the same team here. All right, well, let's get the layout.
Right. Essentially, this is a rectangular compound. You do a quick circuit round the block. There are roads on both the north and the south side. So the north side is just, it happens to run along the back of the building. In fact, specifically the back of the warehouse part. The south side, that's where the vans are coming in and out through the big fence, or the big gate rather, sorry. But then beyond that is the yard, which then connects with the warehouse, goods being unloaded from that and then going into the vans. And then there is a much smaller, like it's 20% of the office block compared to 80% of the warehouse in terms of size of the two buildings. It's almost just like a sliver at the front, really, is just the office area. But also checking off against the map, there is no cross or dotted lines that indicate any known ghoul tunnels here.
Right. All right. We have our warrant cards. We'll just be official and polite and see whether they flinch.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So through the front
Fake
door?
names
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
Okay. You head on inside, and it is a typical front lobby. There is a receptionist there, sat behind a desk that looks fairly ordinary. Again, looks up at you with a little bit of a surprise, but not like shock. Not like, oh, you've caught me in the middle of something I shouldn't be doing. Just that I wasn't expecting anyone. So, hello, how can I help?
Good afternoon. I'm Melvin Spofford Harris. Deputized. These are my associates. There's been reports from a few butcher shops that have been receiving meat that's tainted, and presumably it's black market stuff, not coming through a reputable establishment like yours. But we're just doing, over the course of different sections of town, different boroughs, quick inspections of facilities in case there's anything that's obviously out of sorts. If you wouldn't mind just showing us around the abattoir, it should only take a few minutes.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can call the owner, and he can show you around. I'm just the receptionist.
Certainly, yes. I'm sorry, there's no appointment. It came up rather suddenly.
Oh, as I understand, I mean, hopefully he'll be able to put this to bed fairly quickly, because as you said, we're a nice reputable firm here. We certainly don't engage in any of that kind of black market stuff. That's definitely not our bag.
Far from patriotic these days, after all. Yes, we'll wait.
Indeed. So yeah, if you'd like to take a seat, I'll be back in just a moment. She gets up, and there's a cut tip of her shoes as she goes across the hard floor, and then round a corner towards a door, which you can hear a knock, and then she heads on inside. There's a little bit of a muffled exchange, and then about 30 seconds later she returns, and she's striding behind a man that comes into view, slightly portly, receding hairline, otherwise dressed fairly averagely, pushing a set of wireframe spectacles up to the bridge of his nose. So my name's Mr. Wilson, Eric Wilson. I understand you've got he looks around just to make sure there's no one else in earshot. Some kind of black market problem?
Well, we assume that's the case. The butcher in other neighborhood, Mr. Graves, I know you do business with him. There's been an unfortunate incident, and we found that Graves had been, probably unbeknownst to himself, distributing tainted meat, pork in particular. And I fear that it's probably that he was mixed up with the black market. But we know that you distributed with him, and we're checking all of the businesses he was in practice with to make sure that it isn't somehow, coming through your supply chain.
Oh dear. Yeah, I remember Mr. Graves. Lovely chap from Mile End, yes?
Yes, that's the one. Lost a lot of his family in the Blitz recently.
Oh, I hadn't heard that. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Hit him very hard.
As understandably it would. Oh, that's a damn shame.
Yeah, so if you have no objections to just showing us around the premises briefly, it will, eliminate you from the list of potential sources for the stuff he was peddling.
Oh, sure, sure. By all means. I'll have to get you suited and booted, quite literally, if
Mm,
you want to have a look through through like the warehouse where we've got the meat, where our supplies are. So if you'd like to follow me this way, we'll take you into the one of the changing rooms.
much appreciated, Mr. Wilson.
Sounds
Um,
good.
Psychology roll? Does he
Yeah, just
seem
analyzing his body language.
Okay, yeah, you can definitely give me psych rolls.
18 is a hard but not extreme, but I could spend a little bit to make it extreme.
I failed.
Extreme would be better.
All right, that's done 6.
How did the captain do? Ah, okay.
Fail.
Yeah, the captain's finding, yeah, it seems fairly genuine. I mean, there's no red flags coming up for you at least. Melvin, you're getting a bit on edge with this. He starts off doing a good impression of being normal, but yeah, something about the way he moves in particular just doesn't feel right for you. There's there's certainly like maybe the gait of his walk or how he maybe moves a little bit too easily for someone of his stature. You're definitely getting some red flags. His body language is the thing that's giving him away, but yeah, you're getting concerned.
Could I give him a sniff? Because the other ghoul stank.
Hmm, Yeah, there is that. Give me a roll. So smell hidden. Good old time-honored ITD skill there.
Um, just a regular.
There, in which case, the overpowering smell of meat, as you would expect him because of where he works, is covering pretty much all the useful info you would get here. But
Well,
right,
crap.
So
right, you
as
lead.
we follow him, I'll just, lean back to the lad and say, he's very agile for a large fellow, isn't he? Almost lopes when he walks, if you know what I mean. Is it all right if I smoke, Mr. Wilson?
Until we get to the warehouse, but yeah, certainly.
Fair enough.
We're walking down a hallway and it's just like us.
At the minute, but you can hear there are people that are around.
Okay.
So you hear the receptionist back at the other end of the hallway. You hear maybe typing from another from a side room. There's other people moving on the floor above you. So there are people around in earshot.
All right. So I'm gonna take some coins,
Mhm.
and if you suspect that something's wrong, I'm going to drop coins near his feet, like as he's walking away, and then I'm gonna use that as an excuse to grab onto his hand. It's like, hey, you dropped something, just so I can feel if he's human or not, right? So that's my plan.
Okay, so you're going to try and do that.
Yeah.
You can see what your destination is quite signposted.
hmm
So you can see at the end of the corridor there is a room that's say the door is slightly open. You can see that there are racks of white coats in there. So it looks like this is evidently like a transition room between the office part of the building and the warehouse part of the building. So you want to do that before you get to before you get to the changing room?
Yeah, I'm gonna violate this man's personal space.
Okay. How rough do you intend to be with him?
I just want to feel what is the texture of his like skin.
Okay, in which case you drop coins on the floor. You then grab
His
his
hand.
wrist or
Yeah, yeah.
his shin. Feels like regular skin.
Oh, okay. Sorry, you dropped something.
Oh, so he turns around, looking a little bit perplexed. Uh, where did that come from? He kind of pats himself down and is looking genuinely confused.
I'm gonna smell him now.
Yeah, you guys, which is smell hidden.
Smell hidden. Spot hidden. All right. 12. I can spend 3 to make it a hard or extreme.
Again, that would be good.
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, there is a whiff of unwholesome meat smell underneath.
So the owner is in on it. Like,
Yeah, when the captain turns around from that little charade, and I go, I think,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm gonna give you all the look. Like he's.
Mm.
But yeah. Oh no, sorry about that. Let's carry on then.
Okay. He kind of backs away a couple of steps and lets you pick up the coins. And then just says, yeah, it's just through here.
You seem a little nervous, Mr. Wilson.
Well, coins just coming out of nowhere just yeah do make me a little bit worried. You know how they say money grows on trees, that when it obviously doesn't, coins don't mystically fall out of a person's pocket when they don't have coins on their person.
Unless you're working with the black market.
No,
If I was
no,
working with a black
Jean-Claude.
market, I'd hopefully have more than just a handful of coins. But yeah.
I imagine something that caught in someone's cough.
Hmm.
At any rate, so this is the general materials that workers have to put on to operate inside the warehouse.
Yes, if you'd like to pick a locker, please remove any outside jackets.
Mhm.
Slip on one of the white coats, and then for shoes, and then he gestures to what's like a rack or bin off on one side. Please put these white cloth covers over your shoes.
Mhm.
We don't want to get anything being dragged in from outside.
Mhm. The condition of the whites is a good sign. Everything seems to have been thoroughly bleached and eat clean. Very nice.
Oh, we take our matter of cleanliness with yeah, with a lot of respect.
How long have you been in the trade, Mr. Wilson?
Me, family business.
Mm-hmm.
So it was previously my parents. They passed it down to me.
You grew up in it. Very nice. Seems to be a going concern. Looks like you. How many clients do you currently have?
Oh, on the books, about no, close to 100.
Excellent.
Obviously, we've got
Uh,
various different sizes. We cater from everything from hotels to regular butcher shops. Uh,
hmm.
yeah, pretty much it's business to business transactions. We don't do anything to private end users.
You have a specialty? A particular sausage or cut or?
Pretty much across the board, but we find that the classic cuts are the ones that tend to sell the most. So those are the ones that we tend to be up bargain with. So well, bacon is always a good classic. Sausage is also a popular one. Um, we don't get too much for the call these days for steak. That's a little bit more on the high end, especially with rationing.
Yeah,
So yeah, we just try to appeal to the lowest common denominator, but say everyone loves their bacon.
quite so. Yeah. The stretchy boot goes on like this.
Yep, that's it. And he basically helps you get the little kind of booties over your or sacks over your shoes. And everyone otherwise follow his instructions.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're gonna. I do have a gun in the trench coat, but I am kind of worried that he's gonna look through our stuff. But maybe that's me being paranoid. So I'll just leave it in the locker.
Okay. Right. Once you are all booted and then white coated up, he doesn't have to make. Look, there's no one here that's got long flowing hair down to the small of their back, so it's not any issues about having hair nets or hair ties. So it's right. If you'd like to follow me, and he goes over to a door on the opposite side, which he then opens. There is then the assault of sound and smell that reaches you, of definitely the smell of the abattoir. That there is lots of fresh meat out there, and there are dozens of people moving around this warehouse complex. You can see that suspended on rows of meat hooks, there are various different cuts of meat. There's pork here. There's cow. It looks like a normal meat supply operation where people are taking these. They're either bringing meat in to then be hung in their particular places, taking them down, and then loading them up into a van, which then the van goes out. It looks like a regular, normal operation. There's nothing here which is raising any kind of suspicion apart from him, Melvin and Melvin's eyes and what the captain's nose has potentially given away here to give you cause for concern.
Yeah, I'm going to produce a little notebook and, sort of jot down illegible things and ask polite questions. How many employees are currently in this production line?
Currently 49.
49. What a specific number.
Well, we have to be on top of these things. A good manager always knows the accurate number of the staff working for him, and specifically how many paychecks he's having to write out each month.
Have you lost anybody recently with the bombs and all?
No, we've been lucky. But again, this is one of the reasons why one keeps an accurate number, that you think one day you're going to have someone who doesn't need a paycheck written out for them because of the night before.
It's dreadful business about those shelters recently collapsing. In the tube last night, I was reading the Times, and a few recently constructed shelters fell in and killed everyone with inside.
Yeah, he kind of breathes in through his almost gritted teeth. Yeah, this is what happens, I suppose, when the government opens up contracts, that they'll take anyone with the lowest common denominator that will, or the lowest opening bid to do the job.
Yeah.
And if they use substandard materials, then any cowboy can go out and build a shitty lean-to. Pardon my French.
No, not at all. It's a tragedy.
Now, Wilson, how's has the war been for your company?
Honestly, difficult.
Difficult.
Just supply chains being messed up. The rationing hasn't helped because it's curtailed a lot of the freedom that we used to have of being people who just had the open market. They could come and get what they wanted, but there's no longer that freedom now because of all the regulations that have been put on us by the Ministry of Food.
Well, hopefully this war ends soon.
Yeah, or some bright sparks that it'd be over by Christmas.
Hmm.
He just rolls his eyes at that and shrugs.
I'd like to inquire about a particular workstation and just ask some questions about procedures and stuff, and while also sort of giving the employee there a good gander to see if it seems like it's a large scale operation or whether it's just the guy at the top.
Yeah. No, we can always truncate this into almost like a series of vignettes of talking to people across the warehouse. It looks like there's a very small managerial staff. It's not just Wilson, but it's pretty much he is the one at the top of a very small pyramid that then sits on top of everyone else. That all the major contracts are negotiated, they go through him. Then he's got an basically admin support staff underneath him. The rest of it is then the nuts and bolts of keeping the business running, that any business just needs that kind of staff. And then the grunts that work out on the warehouse floor, which are the vast majority of people. There's a small number that go out and actually deliver the meat to the various different corporate clients. But yeah, again, everything seems fairly legit. There's no hints that there's any kind of untoward business or even anything illegal going on here. It seems really legit.
Could we retcon something in the locker room? Could we
rewind it? Yep.
Could we look to see if the names of Barry or the kid or anybody we recognize are on any of the lockers?
You have a quick gander. And
well, they're going back to the locker room after all to get our stuff. So
yes, that's right.
You definitely see the name of one Davy Reed. He has a locker. The other one, Barry, Barry the Hatchet, I think his wonderful nickname was. Barry Cornell, he does not have a locker, but Davy Reed does.
So, another thing, Wilson, what with rationing, as you said, being such a constraint, and what with our concerns about some black market material, have you had any particular lossage of late? Things going missing?
We've not so much had stuff go missing, but we've had attempts, like when there's been a couple of instances where the van's parked out uh, in front of a shop to make a delivery, and someone's tried to basically do a snatch and grab.
Mm-hmm.
We've had a couple of those instances, which, as far as we've been aware, they've just been members of the public, opportunistic theft or attempted theft. But with our staff being quite vigilant and not leaving the vans unattended, a quick oi, a quick you, and a raised voice, and even just a threat of a raised hand has been enough to get these miscreants scarpering. So thankfully they haven't got away with anything. But it's something we have to be vigilant about. People are hungry out there.
Indeed.
People are
Which
hungry indeed.
makes your work all the more important.
Mm.
I think I'm feel quite satisfied, gentlemen. Is he?
Well, I also wanted to look at the machinery and see if there was any machinery that is out of place in a slaughterhouse.
Okay, give me a
I have like
either your choice
mechanical.
of mechanical repair or operate heavy machinery.
All right. Let me see which one is better.
While he makes that roll, is there anywhere that Wilson has let us, uh, he's avoided going to with us? Any corners of this building?
Give me an int roll.
All right. 38 out of 60.
Right. Specifically, he showed you around the warehouse. He hasn't taken you around the office part of the structure.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I got a hard on my mechanical repair.
Gotcha. Hard success. You don't need to spend any luck to get it to get any further down than that. You're positive that everything here is legitimate and is doing what it's supposed to be doing. It's also got they've all obviously got signs of normal wear and tear. So everything here is being used in a proper, legitimate fashion.
Yes, I have no questions here. This was quite satisfactory, Mr. Wilson.
Well, so very much glad to hear it, because as I said, we do run a legitimate law-abiding operation here. But obviously, I can see from your perspective, you obviously got leads to follow and things to cross off the list and so on. I imagine that's how all this investigative stuff goes. Melvin's making.
If you'd asked your
noises.
secretary to give us a copy of your client list, we can actually sort of cross some of those people off as being of less concern.
Yeah, we can have a list run up for you fairly quickly. I can get one of our typists to make a copy of that.
It would be much appreciated. And thank you very much for your time. I'm sure you're quite busy.
One more thing.
Mhm.
Do you have any problems with rats or vermin?
Rats. No, I see what you mean. And he turns around, obviously gestures to all the food out. No, we keep the place fairly secure.
Oh,
So
good.
I mean, the only time that we'd have any problem is normally around the bins. We do have obviously refuse, which is collected fairly regularly, which is out in the. In fact, I'll show you. And he takes you outside into the courtyard, where you can see there's the bay for the vans that go in and out. But there is a covered area where there's a roof that comes over at a slant, and then there's these large, not industrial size, but definitely large refuse bins. Everything gets tipped in here that we can't immediately use, but we do have it taken away on a very regular basis. We have a collection every other day.
So you don't need any rat catchers then? And I'm going to look to see if he recognizes that.
Give me a luck roll.
No, I failed.
No, then he does not know the term. So he says, no, we haven't needed to employ an exterminator. We certainly haven't got a vermin problem. Sometimes in the summer it has got pretty, when obviously stuff's been left out overnight and it's been pretty warm, the smell attracts them, but not at this time of year, no.
Thank you for your time.
No problem. Anytime. Just, I mean, ideally, kind of caught me on a lucky period where I've got some free time. But if you do want to come back, by all means, an appointment would be preferred. So just give us a bit of heads up warning. But otherwise, we'll see if we can accommodate you and see if we can be as helpful today as we've been been going forward.
Should we make an appointment right now?
I think we're making an appointment for after midnight, but we'll talk about that outside.
Okay.
Right. Otherwise, he'll take you back out through your to get your clothes all changed. Being the paranoid man that you are, Captain Goodale, you notice that when you take out all your stuff out of your locker, it's exactly the way you left it. No one has been through it.
That's great. These survival instincts kept me alive.
But also gives you some valuable information that it's maybe he didn't have time to tip anyone else off. That
because we caught him by surprise.
Yeah, that because he's been with you all the time, so he couldn't have got word to someone else to go say like check their cabinets or anything. They check the lockers. So that maybe gives you an idea that this might be a fairly small operation if this is something that's been infiltrated.
Not a lot of allies here. All right, close the door, get in the car. He's definitely wearing Wilson's skin, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's
Skin felt normal, but the stench of rotten meat was there. Covered in it.
I wonder if they are often corpulent in their human guise. It helps to cover up the differences.
I have no idea.
We'll definitely need to get some more of that awful stinking eyeball juice. But yeah. Well, we've got a list of people he sells to. I wonder if it's just strictly bacon and do a few places he knows, because it strikes me that he doesn't probably want to have hundreds of places selling ghoul-tainted material. It's, if you turn half of London into your kind, then what are you going to eat in 6 months?
All right, that's not sustainable.
The typist produced a copy of their sales list. But of course, if there were any special little notations that only he understands, those would not have been transferred to what they give to the public. So we'll have to compare that list to the secret list in the back room when we break in here tonight.
We could follow him as well. I mean, even ghouls have to dodge the bombs.
Yeah, well, they have tunnels of their own.
We could follow him to one of the tunnels and then confirm that he...
Well, I think we're going to want to gear up more thoroughly. For example, read that journal that Goodale picked up before we enter into full-scale battle against them.
It would be very risky, to be fair.
Part of me just wants to arm the ghouls against the ghouls and let them take care of each other, but I'm afraid that we'd end up on the losing side either way.
What's worse than a ghoul? A ghoul with a gun.
Well, I could use some cress sandwiches. Let's head back to our Ed's bookshop.
Right, so you
Good
start
idea.
making your way back towards Charing Cross Road, so heading further west. Meanwhile, as you're heading west, the others are heading east. You head over towards Greenwich. So the good father and the doctor arrive at this lovely area, not too far away. It's only about 3 or 4 streets over from where a certain masked-like figure, a certain Cthulhu cultist that you met a long time ago now, where she used to reside. So you're in that same part of the world. Well, Dr. Gross would remember that, but it's obviously the
Yeah, I
GM
don't know
wouldn't.
what you're
But,
talking about.
yeah.
Yeah,
In another
Gross
life,
is just
maybe.
spouting nonsense as he's reminiscing of times when he was slightly more sane.
Yeah, I remember this lady that had some very dodgy plastic surgery done on her. But anyway, that's a different life. So yeah, you arrive, and this is emphasizing this is a nice, respectable, upper class, expensive piece of town.
We
So you
did,
are
however, get ourselves a small crowbar,
yes.
Yes.
just in case we need it.
Mhm.
We'll leave that in the car, however. We won't walk
Mhm.
up to
Okay.
and this is the
Being a
house
nice,
where Nancy Wayne is supposed to live.
yeah, being a nice townhouse, you've got the pavement, and then literally a short flight of 2 or 3 steps, and then the front door, polished black wood.
How are
So
your
it's
eyes, Dr. Gross?
Uh,
They're still
Pretty good.
stinging?
I would say so.
yeah, sort of that grease and vitreous humor that's kind of mixing with your own. Yeah, it's
Uh,
becoming it's really uncomfortable and
the the same sign if you see something odd. Um, let's go
Yes.
up. I'll knock on the door.
okay. Again, there's a bit of a wait, but you do hear the sound of something inside. It sounds like a wheelchair because you hear this
Okay.
definite creaking and grinding, and then there's a kind of bump against the other side, and then a sound of a latch being pulled back, and then a latch, a deadbolt, a key, and then finally the door opens, and you're met by someone that your immediate reaction is, yeah, I've seen your photo in the Ratcatcher
Yeah,
album.
I'm not going to say anything. No, yes, of course.
But there's a definite difference, or there's rather a definite set of changes that have happened since she last had her photo taken. The first one is that she's in a wheelchair. Previously, she wasn't, that she was stood upright. She has this shawl which covers her legs. You can both give me spot hidden rolls when before going on to the more blatant bit about her appearance.
A hard success.
Mhm.
Fail.
Okay. The father doesn't notice anything because the father's probably more interested or more immediately. The eyes are drawn to the very large, very horrible claw marks that go right across her face and across her right eye. These look like old scars, but they are still scars,
Yeah.
almost going through to the bone. She got mutilated,
Hmm.
which Dr. Gross will be able to notice as well, because while she's got the 2 feet on the runner board of the wheelchair, both of them you can just see that the pantyhose, which are holding, well, not holding her feet together, but are covering her feet and presumably her legs. One of those feet is only half there. The other foot is half gone. Looks like it has been eaten away. You can see the tooth marks. It looks like a very definite bite mark that someone has literally bitten half of her foot away. But with a hard success, you notice one hand, her right hand, is underneath that shawl and just about in the right position as if she was holding a trigger pointed, presumably, you think probably a sawn-off shotgun pointing
Yeah.
right in front of her. But
Yes.
she just looks up with you with kind of like, not hostility, but just a cold, almost poker face. Yes.
Good afternoon, Miss. We're looking for Miss Nancy Wayne.
You
Is
found her.
that you? Ah, excellent. I'm Father Erasmus Brent, and this is Dr. George Gross. Uh, would you have a few moments to speak with? We would like to speak with you
Is it about our
concerning a
Lord and
Miss.
Savior? Have I heard the good word?
No, I'm afraid not. But it is about Miss Grace Daggett.
You can
A
see there's
f-
a bit of a shock. Kind of, oh,
Someone
okay.
you are acquainted with?
I know Grace.
May we come inside?
Yeah, yes, of course. With keeping that one right arm
Yeah.
under the shawl, she then wheels with her left hand, pulls the wheelchair back, and then lets you open the door.
Um, We don't want to beat around the bush. Miss Daggett has been seriously injured. She's in hospital.
Oh.
We were present when she was injured.
Mhm.
And I mean, we'll level with you. We know about the rat catchers, and we are on the same side of this fight. We were just not aware that there was another group such as yourselves. Uh, we've only found out because we were there when Miss Daggett attacked one of the creatures, and that's when our investigation began. We're working for one of the is N part of it's a part of a government organization, isn't it?
He
We're
is
working
technically he's part of the government, yes.
Yeah, we're working for a branch of the government that deals with these kind of dangerous threats, something you may not have been aware of yourself. It's rather secretive, but now we're involved, myself and a number of associates, and this, what shall we call them, ghouls? The ghoul problem is getting quite out of hand at present. Miss Daggett is in the hospital. She's probably going to be. Do I say? I want to say she's not conscious currently, but we're hoping that within the next 24 hours she'll be able to answer some of our questions. We were hoping also to find Mr. Kenneth Hodge, though he seems to have disappeared in the last month or so. It certainly is possible that he could have been injured in the Blitz.
I'm not aware of him having been injured. I'm just aware that he keeps himself to himself and was
I see.
very much of the opinion that staying in one place too long was just putting a target on his back. So it made him more susceptible to be attacked if he kept his base of operations in one place. So he's constantly on the move, much to the detriment of his hygiene, unfortunately.
But all of this makes sense to you then. We're not completely crazy.
She just blinks.
I assure you that we are friends. We've been trying to stop some of these bad things from going on.
We've stopped numerous, well, not necessarily the father, but me and numerous colleagues have stopped very dangerous things from happening. Similar to our ghouls, I am used to and have knowledge of many unknowns.
She looks at her eyes kind of narrow when she looks at you, and she leans forward very slightly. What do you mean you've got knowledge?
I just have been. I know a bit about the occult. Well, I know more than that.
And I approach it from the religious point of view.
I am a unnatural researcher. I deal with the occult and various things that seem unnatural. I have done many years of research, and I have many notes of very unusual things that have happened and still happen. Ghouls interest me, and I was very stupid to actually forget about the fact that they run in packs. I'm also saying all this to keep seeing her reaction. Because
her eyes narrow when you say packs, and she cocks her head very slightly to one side. You can give me a psych roll.
I'll do that as well.
Just
I got a 14. I got a 14 out of 70, so I actually got an extreme.
Right. She recognizes that he uses the incorrect term.
Did that on purpose.
Yeah. So yeah, you clock that she knows that pack is not the right word. Tribe would be the more accurate term, but she doesn't correct him audibly. But you definitely know that she clocks it.
So I even go, so sorry, miss, tribe. I was just testing. I look at her with a knowing look.
We're currently hoping that you can fill in some of the blanks for us, that we're that we're not aware of. We were nearly killed by a tribe, an underground group they've been setting up bomb shelters throughout the city that are designed to collapse under stress. It basically drops all of the contents of all of the people inside down into their tunnels, where they are killed and eaten, I suppose.
Because you got an extreme on your psych roll, I'll let you this ride. She raises an eyebrow at that, like this is news to her. And at that point, the arm that was holding the trigger on the shotgun that she's got down by her leg comes up, and she uses it to rest up on the arm against the arm of the chair, and she does move around like wincing as if she is in a fair bit of pain while she does so. But this definitely seems like news to her. She knew about ghoul tribes, but this is new.
Well, and there's something else to tell you. We believe that there may be some sort of war going on between various tribes of ghouls. And one of their current tactics is they are tainting the meat that is being distributed throughout the city with ghoul juices. We've already found a number of casualties of people who are somewhat halfway transformed into these creatures.
Again, you're getting that kind of penny drop
Yeah.
moment that, this is news to her as well.
And we're trying to
young
stop
children.
it, you understand, including young children, a small girl, a vicious animal.
These things are disgusting. It doesn't put it past this is new, a new tactic that I'm aware of, but I wouldn't put it past them. It's just a typical shabby, disgusting thing that these vermin would employ.
All right. Can I just ask you one thing? Have you, in the group that you're attached to, know of a rat catchers, did you ever try talking to the ghouls?
Why would we do that?
So you just see them as creatures?
They're vermin. Quite literally the definition of vermin. That you don't talk with a rat nest. You exterminate it. You blast the territory. You salt the earth and then just you get rid of it.
That's true, but
you don't taint
And has
yourself
that-
with getting that corrupted by them.
I'll put my hand on Dr. Gross's arm, giving him a squeeze, like, calm it down. So your job, the rat catcher's job, was then to hunt down and get rid of them.
Annihilate them.
Miss Daggett was in the process of hunting one of them down when we actually saved her life, took her to the hospital. She managed to kill one of them in the underground.
Which hospital is she at?
She's at Nick Hospital. I forget. There was a scene.
Do you say the correct?
I do say the correct one. I just don't know.
Royal London.
I'm just going to pipe in, Father. Don't worry, I will not question your tactics.
In any case,
how did the rat catchers begin? How did you actually start? What was the first interaction with ghouls?
There was, I don't think it's any harm divulging this information. Almost 20 years ago now, that there was a anthrax outbreak, or use, however you want to determine it,
Yes.
that happened in the city, and a team of investigators that started looking into this problem then ran across the ghoul population then, and that they have subsequently been trying to exterminate them, to every single last one. And until the outset of the war, by that moron on the other side of the channel, that we'd actually been winning. We'd forced a huge population of these scum out of our town. They were being driven out into the countryside, far away from the city. And we were getting on top. We had manageable numbers that we could deal with. And then that that sodding Nazi had to go and ring the fucking dinner bell and summon them all back to town.
Do they have do these ghouls have a central location, a headquarters, a main?
If they had, why wouldn't we have taken it out already?
Perhaps it's heavily defended. I don't know.
No, you have got
They
multiple infestations across the whole city.
and they
Almost
move around.
all the larger cemeteries. If you wanted to take a wander to one of those cemeteries, I could recommend you go to the top floor and just jump out of a window. It's a quicker way to commit suicide if you really want to do that. But otherwise, you can wander to any cemetery in the London area, and you'll find it either connected to a nearby cemetery or being part of a nest. These things are everywhere. But it's not just one single isolated, one single base where they're like, hey, we have the ghoul clubhouse right here, because that would have made our lives so much easier.
Do you know of any techniques for killing them that's more effective than others?
Explosives are usually quite helpful.
Yes,
Otherwise, some prefer the up close and personal method, like axe to the throat. Personally, I'm quite fond of shotgun blast to the face.
Gross is not hiding his disdain for this conversation.
Well, we've discovered the tunnels. We know that they run all over the place under the city.
As you're having this conversation with her, again, letting your psych roll ride a bit, the vehemence and the venom that is coming across in her rhetoric, you kind of peg that maybe she is not that far away in terms of Sanners to the good doctor beside you.
Sure. Well, look at her. She's empathizing with her. I realize that she's been up close and extremely harmed and damaged by these things. So she should be a little shell-shocked. Well, if there's anything you can offer us as help, obviously you've seen your share of up close fighting with them, and we're just beginning the fight. But your rat catchers seem to have dwindled in number, and we have to take up the slack at this point. We have very good reason to believe that multiple tribes of ghouls are actually fighting one another for control of the city. We might be able to take that to our advantage.
Her eyes kind of narrow at that. She starts off by saying, well, yeah, our numbers have dwindled. You can blame conscription for that mess, because all of our healthy boys and fighters got taken away to go over to France and probably won't come back.
So there's more of you.
Well, obviously.
Involved.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know, too. I mean, we have some clout with the government.
She nods very perceptibly. And then looks at you nodding, and then looks at Dr. Gross just shaking his head. I'm getting some mixed signals here, gentlemen. Either you are or you aren't.
Dr. Gross tends to try and find equitable and diplomatic solutions to things, but he's not in charge of our group.
No, I will keep my views to myself right now, but he is quiet because he knows he'll make this worse if he continues speaking.
I'm going to give you a card where you can contact us. If Mr. Hodge would also like to contact us. We have been, I'll be honest with you, we have been in Miss Dackett's apartment because we were quite desperate for information. That's how we found out about you and him. And we are very concerned with her health, and obviously she's an active fighter. Is Mr. Hodge also an active fighter currently, or is he simply in hiding?
No, she nods.
Oh, we could use his help.
Getting word to him is the more problematic issue. Like I said, he moves around, so it's very much when he deigns to contact us these days. But she has a look at the card you've given. What address specifically have you given her?
I'm going to give her the address of my residence at the cathedral.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it'll be St. Joseph's, whatever, refectory.
Got it.
And there's people there that will know how to contact me if they need to.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, she has a look at that. Says, okay, I'm going to need to put out contact to the rest of our group to see if I can get more than just me, because I'm not in a position to make any kind of a unilateral decision for the whole group.
Of course.
Surely you must understand that.
Of course I do. And understand that our danger right now is apparently tainted meat. We have part of our group that's going over to that place.
Wilson's Meat Supplies.
Wilson's Meat Supply, thinking that may be a central hub for the distribution of this tainted meat. Unfortunately, there was a butcher and his daughter that we spoke with earlier today that the discussion didn't go very well. You understand, they were transformed, but not, I think, innocent. I think that they had no idea that they were being transformed into one of these things, these ghouls. I think that's how they're recruiting their new individuals into their groups, is
vermin regardless of what stage of transformation they've been through. I would have put them down like the dogs they are.
I'm saying these vermin are able to transform regular or ordinary and innocent people.
They're also very capable of masquerading as regular people. They can eat you alive and then take your form, so they can walk out in the sun, in the daylight, occupy positions of power, positions of authority, and completely undermine any kind of government, local authority, power structure, whatever. Do you realize
Are you aware of any people in such positions that are in fact ghouls? And I'm going to refer to the list that we saw that I did not write down.
Should be still pinned in the Discord channel.
Yeah, I don't have that up. Let me open the Discord channel. Where is my Discord? There it is. That is not the Discord channel. Where's the Discord channel? Oh, here we go. Do the names Alf Welch, John Regan, Barry Connell, Ronnie Shepard, and Meyer Fellick mean anything to you?
She shakes her head. No, this sounds like something that Grace would have been looking into herself.
Yes.
I hate to use the word agents, but operatives are fairly autonomous. That once they find a thread, they will track it down. If it then becomes a problem where it's too great for them to deal with, they will then call in assistance. If she thought that she could take this group out by herself, then that's what she would be doing. I mean, Grace was trained by one of our best. Her husband was a Great War veteran, and yeah, she's perfectly capable of doing what needs to be done.
Excellent. Well, I'm hoping that we see her tomorrow and speak with her. She's currently, because of the incidents that took place, by the way, she did manage to kill the ghoul, but she did so in front of a whole bunch of people. So she's currently being held in custody in the hospital. She's unconscious, so she's not going anywhere. But
that was careless, because she should have just killed everyone in the area.
Well, we almost all did die. As I say, we were in a bunker that collapsed into the ground. In any case, thank you very much for your help. have my phone number. Um, I don't answer it I'm not always there, but I should get the message in the evening every night.
Until someone creates a wonderful piece of technology where we could just carry a phone around with us at all times, then that
I
can
know.
only remain a dream of being able to pick up the phone at any time of day or night. Apart from someone such as myself, who is unfortunately pretty much bound to the house given the condition that I'm in.
Yes. Well, thank you. If you need anything, please contact us. And
No, the only thing I need is the complete extermination of this vermin infestation.
indeed. Well, thank you. And we'll leave.
Mhm.
But I'll just say to Dr. Gross, there's no need to antagonize her. She's part of the old guard. She thinks they should all be exterminated, but we may end up finding that that's not what we want to do in the first place. But
once we are actually out of here, once we leave her,
yeah,
Grace will
we've
talk
left.
to you. No, Father, it's worse than that. These people, they came across a nest of probably scared ghouls. Those ghouls would have probably not meant much harm. Ghouls are generally just from, they are not, they will not harm, they don't harm. Not, they do now, but they don't normally harm. And we
Well,
came
the
across a
point is
group of scared ghouls because they were different.
they're doing
Yes,
it
but
now, which we have to
yes,
deal with them
but
now.
I do not trust these rat catchers because I believe most of these ghouls are probably like the way they are because of how they were treated by us, by the rat
You
catchers.
could say the same thing for the Germans. They were
Which
lovely
is my
people.
comparison I'm going to say. The rat catchers are just as bad as the Nazis.
But then you're saying that we're responsible for the Nazis, or we made them.
No,
We did make the
I'm just
Nazis the way
saying.
they are.
I'm just saying that both groups are very similar here, Father.
In any case, it's getting late. We better get to the others.
We just can't bring them into this organization. We
I'm not
cannot.
sure that there's any reason though to break into Mr. Hodges' dwelling now. We know that he's not been there for a while. Let's just go meet the others.
The last little nugget that I'll drop then is that as you're leaving, so this is a discussion happening after this moment, but yeah, Dr. Gross and Nancy do their eyes meet for a moment, just as the doors shutting, and then you're having this conversation. This is kind of processing through your mind that look that lingers with you as you walk away, go back to the car, and then to drive off to your rendezvous point. Crazy talks to crazy. And you are fairly certain that while she has a little bit more of a grip on reality than you currently do, she currently has the same kind of state that you find yourself in. She is also mythos hardened. Her mythos score exceeds her san by quite a way. More so than yours. But like I say, crazy talks to crazy. Whether that means anything or not is not a matter. Red line across the map. You two different groups meet up at your point back at Enn's bookstore.
Yes.
Yeah, once we're in a secure location, we're gonna break the news that Mr. Wilson is a ghoul. It's worse than we
Apparently
thought.
they've been all over the city for a long time, and the rat catchers have made it their mission to exterminate them. They say that they'd almost done that. They'd almost exterminated them prior to the war, but now it's become a blood feast. And she says you can find them under every cemetery, they've been here for a long time.
Yeah.
And they're a little
We're
crazy.
in over our head with the amount of ghouls, if there are, if what you say is true.
To speak to them.
She says there's no central location for them. They would have destroyed it if there was. But apparently you can get there from any cemetery in the city.
So no sign of Kenneth then, only Nancy.
No, but she said that he's gone into hiding. probably during the war because of the ghouls. And she's not mobile. She's not really actively involved anymore because she's in a wheelchair. But she would have shot us if we'd have said the wrong thing.
Yes, my only suggestion is, well, it would determine if I stay during mission, if I survive this, that is. Who knows what will happen to us, is we do not bring the rat catchers into this fold. We might be able to use them if need be, but they cannot join this organization.
But
I
she did
suppose that's up
say
for
that
N to know,
she
to
said
make that
there's more of
decision.
them than what we think. The rat catchers, a lot of them were conscripted into the army. And so they're not here right now. So perhaps if we need more rat catchers to do what we want them to do, we can talk to N, who can talk to the military, who can talk to the generals, who can get some of these boys shipped back to us.
I don't think we're going to wait for continental
It will take a long
transport.
time.
It's going to be a
Guess
long
not.
time.
No.
Germany's just right over there.
But the problem is we are all rushing to kill them. Why are we not? I know there's loads going on, but we can still talk to some of them. Because Wilson, surely. Yes.
Not-
Who knows?
No way you're thinking about talking to Wilson. That's just too damn reckless.
We need to talk to Miss Daggett.
We'll help
I
with
suspect
Laura
Daggett will have the same stance as Nancy.
being widowed and
Probably.
all.
The
No, I
list that she gave you seems to have names on it that she was investigating. Very likely those people on the list are either ghouls or associate with ghouls.
Well, and in fact, speaking of associating with ghouls, young Davy, you should check in with the place that you offered him to stay.
No.
It seems he was officially employed at Wilson's meat distributor, but presumably liberating some bacon for the black market, although Wilson himself didn't seem to think that he'd been robbed. But it's rather more than a coincidence, I should think.
We will. I'll go there tonight. I did give Miss Wayne my phone number at the rectory.
So, order of business. We told N, I believe, already about the poorly constructed shelters.
Yes.
So, and that young lady was also going to assist with figuring out if we could determine who the contract workers were. We need to make sure that those shelters are reinforced, inspected, or shut down before their future fatalities.
I can deal with that now before I forget.
Excellent.
Because you did put that request in a while back, and that would just be a case of him doing a few phone calls. Then N can indeed can nod at this point if you are having this conversation in the same room as him, and said, "Yes, I have that." There is a single name that pops up there, and
Excellent.
that is. He says, "Try to find the damn thing." It's not.
Nice, another lead. The shoddy bomb built shelters.
Welch and Sons is the company that built the bomb shelters.
Welch
Alf
and
one of the
Welch.
names.
Alf Welch is on the names.
Desmond Welch, right? Alf
They're an
Welch.
independent
Alf.
contractor. They're based
Desmond
on,
and Alf are on the list.
yeah, they're based at Allwood Street in Stepney. The company, this is a standard copy and paste contract that the government outsourced these contracts to be built for different local companies, local builders to build these shelters in their local turf, essentially. They put in the winning bid for the construction of these particular shelters, and the names of the shelters that you've reported to me have collapsed were all built by this same company.
Have you informed anyone in the government that those shelters are of dubious quality? If it's in the Times that several have collapsed.
I've reported it back to them to say that you might want to send an inspector out there to have a look at these things, but that's the last I've heard.
All right. So hopefully the inspectors will be able to do their work independently, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't see to the Welch and Son, or sons plural.
I'm pretty sure it's just son now. If Desmond
Well,
Welch, his name was crossed off.
his name is Rostov. Miss Wayne also said that I guess perhaps the more skilled amongst these ghouls are able to perfectly imitate what people look like. So they'll eat them and take over their positions. You're
Garrick
Mr.
Wilson.
Wilson. Yes. But there could be people in other positions of authority.
Yeah, so I think that we're going to need to raid the Wilson facility. But part of me just wants to commit a significant arson and cleanse the whole facility because we don't know what's tainted. However, meat is in short supply. People are hungry. So if we can stop the infection without destroying the entire place, that would be preferable.
How can you tell which meat is tainted? Probably the ones that smell rotten.
I mean,
You
we
can't always
brought
tell.
we can, we brought out some of the bad bacon. We can have that tested and see if there's some telltale sign.
Right.
If, there's a litmus test for ghoul blood that they can work out at the hospital without probably knowing what the source is, just saying this bacteria or virus or what have you.
Have we researched who Reagan, Cornell, Shepard, and Fellick are?
Meyer Fellick seems important.
The forger, the German.
Yeah.
That's the forger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ronnie Shepard, I believe he's the uncle. Frankie's the nephew. I believe they're part of the Shepard gang.
Shepard King. Okay.
Yeah, I think
So-
the only name that you don't have is Regan. I think that's the only one that you've not got a lead on yet.
Yeah, John Regan.
I'm sure it'll all connect.
Now, I imagine a legitimate meatpacking facility has operations going 24 hours.
Makes sense.
The blackout would kind of play a little bit of a dampener on that, but
Oh.
yes, the logic is sound, but yeah, the Blitz is going to play.
Food production
some-
tends to run overnight. But I'd like to see what's in the actual offices there because my hope is that Wilson is the only ghoul-run meat distribution facility, and that we might be able to curtail that process, but it would take looking at their offices when they're not present. So the question
I've got a crowbar.
Yeah, I mean, the question is, do we want to break in there tonight when there's a small but not negligible possibility that we'll run into a dozen ghouls there and have ourselves a heck of a firefight?
Not sure we should give our cards away just quite yet. Wilson still might be a little suspicious and be on guard.
It's possible. Again, every tainted slab of bacon, though, could be another family that's lost.
We didn't see any tainted meat at the warehouse, but then
We
again, we
wouldn't have
only
known.
saw what, he showed us.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they have I wonder why would they select some places to give tainted meat over others?
Well, you just brought something up very important. What if they're not generally distributing it, but they are targeting certain individuals, like Edward and his family?
I mean, I think they're probably targeting, institutions. There might be
They
no
probably
point.
targeted Graves because he was a meat guy.
Yeah, makes sense.
But that's who they're distributing to.
Yes.
Dr. Gross, how much ghoul tainted flesh does one have to consume before one begins to transform?
I would assume, like with any form of a disease or pathogen that is passed on through blood or anything, it literally could take a droplet. It might be more, it might be less. It depends on the person. We all react to things differently. Um,
As the man says.
so who knows?
There may be a natural immunity to it as well, which is why everyone
And
hasn't become.
exactly. Some people might be less exposed to whatever causes the chemical reaction. So
But
at the end of the day, it'd be a reaction.
just through Graves's butcher shop, there could be 100 families that are in the midst of being transformed as we speak.
We don't have the resources that we could go door to door and check people in the neighborhood to see if they've shown signs. Or is it possible that neither one of them was actually the original, but they were ghouls that had taken on their form?
No, they were transforming.
They were in the
They were
process of
transforming.
transforming.
He was
Remember,
just stressed about his daughter. He was in the midst himself. He was unaware.
To me, it was as if they were phasing in and out between their real self and the ghoul self.
I'm afraid that the real resource that we all need is more of that eyeball liquid so that we can at least deal with who we're. I don't agree. I mean, I agree with you on most points, Dr. Gross. But at the same time, what can you do? If there's a threat, the most you can do is identify the enemy and stop them, regardless of what their background may have been. And that might be why our rat catchers, they saw no alternative than to exterminate everyone that they found.
But did they have to start it? Most likely they killed.
It's already started.
I don't think that we're interested in becoming, as I had said earlier, the new rat catchers. We don't want to eliminate this phenomenon or die trying. We do need to stop them from turning people against their will en masse.
Yes, which is what we're all for, but I don't know. I feel there's more we could do beyond that.
You say you don't know, but looking at the time, I think we'll have one last roll and one last potential revelation before we wrap up for the evening. Dr. Gross, would you like to give me an int roll?
Yes, of course. 15, which is an extreme.
All right. How good is that in relation to your mythos?
It's my mythos is 9, so quite close.
Close, but it's still an extreme of your int. You think it would require someone to have produced this ointment, for want of a better term, would require someone that has got some kind of maybe alchemical background, at least some kind of ritualistic, definitely background, because this is the kind of thing that you would find in a medieval grimoire, potentially, of how to create something using these kind of arcane ingredients like vitreous humor and the like. Someone that would therefore have to have a fair amount of knowledge of the arcane, a bit like you sensed with Nancy. And on that little mic drop moment of maybe thinking you might have an idea of where this stuff is coming from or who can make it, I think that is where we will leave it for tonight.
Excellent. Our players included Max Meltzer, Josh Harwood, Alex Sun, David Gasaway, and myself with Matthew Sanderson as the Keeper of Arcane Lore. We have a Discord server where you can chat with other members, you can set up private games, and you can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastering. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Spotify, Podbean, or iTunes. Support for the show is provided by our patrons who are listed in the closing credits. If you'd like to show us your appreciation, please visit our Patreon page, or you can use the thanks button just below the screen. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answer any questions you might have. This is Thom Raley, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the War Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.